Your life isn't hard. Your thoughts about your life are hard. Hey guys, my name is Mike. I'm a former New York City bouncer who went from sleeping in the streets, living in the projects in Harlem, to going back to school in my late 20s, studying finance, doing graduate degrees, and getting a job at a top consulting firm. And I talk about mindset, I talk about the things that my own experiences that I struggled with to break out of poverty and go into corporate America. Now I'm talking about building my business, my consulting business, and how to break out of corporate America. So I want to talk to you about a really important concept, that things are not what they are. Things are what we think they are. We perceive everything around us and we define it. So at times when I was extremely poor, I used to think like, this is my life. This is the hard life I'm in. I'm destined to be this way. But those were my thoughts. I was perceiving myself to be in that situation, and I created this reality around me. And it wasn't until I changed my thoughts, I changed my reality, that then I was able to find success. So you can have two people in the same situation as I was, unemployed, uneducated, living in their parents' basement, or living in some dumpy apartment, and have two different mindsets. My mindset at one point was, I'm poor, I want to work on Wall Street, but it's going to be hard. I don't know how to get there. I'm going to struggle, and and that's it. Like, if I'm lucky, I'll go from making $10 an hour to $12 an hour, find another job that pays me $15 an hour, and kind of work my way up. Maybe I should go become a police officer or whatever. And then I switched my mindset. That same person a month later was thinking completely different. And my mindset was, I am a 6-figure corporate finance consultant or investment banker. Those were the two tracks that I wanted to go on, was consulting or investment banking. I put myself in the mindset of saying, I am that person, but I'm working to get there. I'm working on the education, I'm working on the experiences, internships, and becoming knowledgeable about it. I'm going to school to study, to get the degrees and the certifications to work in that corporate environment, to make myself qualified on paper to be that person. So I was in the same situation. I was still poor, still broke, but my mind was completely different. My reality was different. I went from being just a loser in my mind, saying I'm poor and I'm trapped, to being like, okay, I'm poor, but I'm also like, I'm somebody who's educating myself to become that person. I am that potential investment banker, that potential consultant. It's like, maybe it's a little bit easier for some of you to look at it from the perspective of like becoming a doctor, right? You can be, if you wanted to be a doctor, not just for the money, but this is what you want to do, it's your calling in life. You can say that, I'm not a doctor now, I'm working as an EMT, or I'm a nurse, or I'm a freaking janitor doing nothing close to being a doctor. And you can just define yourself as, I'm a janitor who wants to be a doctor. Or you can change your reality and say, I am a doctor, I'm going to become a doctor. So I'm somebody I'm not just a janitor. Janitor is like my job, but I am actually a pre-doctoral student. And you start actually taking the steps, the actions to change your reality. You can't just say, you can't just keep showing up to work, sweeping the floors as a janitor and saying, I'm a doctor. That's not how it works. You actually have to start taking the steps toward becoming a doctor. So apply to medical school, or start figuring out, how do I get to medical school? Oh, I have to go to undergraduate, and I have to, at a minimum, study something in biology, or pre-med. I have to get a bachelor's degree. So if you start actually taking the steps towards that, you can change and reframe your reality. But you have to actually start acting in that way. So remember that it's your thoughts about your life that make it hard, right? If you say, I'm gonna become a doctor, but God, it's so hard. I'm gonna have to go to 4 years of undergraduate, I have to get good grades, then I have to study for the MCATs so I can get into medical school, then I become a medical student, but then I have to go do my residency and I have to do that for a couple of years, and then I'm gonna get paid very little, and then after that I become a doctor and I'm going to work 18-hour shifts, and I don't know, it's just your own thoughts. Those are your fucking thoughts. And you can either choose to be excited about it, or you can choose to become terrified of it, but you can choose your emotions about that reality of becoming a doctor. You can educate yourself about what it takes to become a doctor. I kind of laid out a very simple, straightforward path to do that. But you can choose how you're going to feel about it. You can choose what kind of reality you're going to build around that journey. Are you going to be terrified of it? Are you going to be scared about it? Or are you going to do what I did when I went back to school? I was not happy going back to school in my late 20s. I'm sitting in like 100 level, entry level courses with a bunch of like 17 and 8-year-old kids just graduating from high school. And it was fucking embarrassing. But I could have chosen to be embarrassed about it, or I could have done what I did instead, which is I just ignored it. I didn't care about age difference. I didn't care about anything else. I said, I'm just going to be a top student in this class. I'm going to perform. I'm going to graduate top of my class, or as close to it as I can get. I'm going to do a lot of internships. And I was so focused and driven on my fucking goal, and I didn't give a fuck about anything else. I didn't allow myself to feel negativity. I didn't allow myself to feel worry. I just went ahead and I did it. So people around you, and I heard some people, from some of my friends in school who were saying, yeah, it's kind of weird, this guy, Mike, he's kind of old, isn't he? What's he doing in his class? He's kind of an older guy. It's weird. Why is he talking to us? Because I was 10 years older than everybody else. It's pretty fucking weird, sure. But did I allow those labels to define me? Did I start thinking to myself? Did I start allowing that to change my reality, to change my perception? I accepted the reality, accepted that, yeah, I'm an older guy. Sure, I'm older to be in school. Can be embarrassing. But I chose, how do I feel about that? How do I feel about being older? Do I feel embarrassed? Do I feel worried? Do I feel concerned? Or do I don't give a fuck? Because I was so driven and focused on my mission. So just remember, your reality, it is what it is. It is what you think it is. So if you want to go to school and you think you're too old, it's you thinking you are too old. You think you're too old. I have a friend, a mentee of mine, who hasn't gotten their GED yet. They haven't graduated high school, and they're in their early 20s. And he's probably struggling with, even though I told him not to, he's probably struggling with the reality that he's kind of old to be getting his GED. And maybe he's thinking, it's too late. It's too late for me to do it. But that's his thinking. It's his reality that he's building around himself. I'm too old to get my GED. Motherfucker, I went back to college. I was taking 101 level courses when I was 27 years old. That, to be 20, 21, 22 and getting your GED, God, I honestly wish that if I could take it all back, it would be great if I had done that. Skipped out on high school altogether, gone back to high school, gotten a GED in 1 year when I was 21, and then gone to college right afterwards. So if you can think like a winner, if you can, if you have to fake it till you make it, if you have to fake it in your head and say, I am a winner, if you can act it out the same way an actor plays a villain or plays a hero in a movie, right? A lot of these actors, they're fucking weirdos. Some of them are losers, but they're nothing at all like the characters that they portray. But a weirdo loser actor can put on a Superman suit and he can play Superman in a movie. But he goes back to his regular life and he's a freaking alcoholic, a drug abuser, whatever, fucking loser. But he can act like superhero for a little bit. And that's because they can reframe their reality and say, I'm Superman for the next 2 hours of shooting this film. And you can do the same thing. You can reframe your reality. You don't have to have the skills of an actor. You don't have to outwardly act, but you can train your body, train your mind to become something better. So if you're looking for a quick, simple, I'm not saying this is easy, but a simple win, do what I've done, which is my reality that I've accepted was that I was a undisciplined, like seriously, even with the financial success I have, I'm trying to build my consulting business, make it much bigger and make a lot more money with it. And I had to accept the reality that I didn't have as much self-discipline as I need to take myself to the next level. Financially, with the business, all of that. I had to accept that. And so to change my reality and my own acceptance that I'm an undisciplined fuck who can't bring myself to the next level, I said, I'm going to become the most disciplined person that I know. I'm going to become somebody who's proud of who I am. Disciplined. I'm going to show it physically. And I'm going to do the hardest thing I can do, which is to get out of bed at 3:40 every morning, leave my nice warm bed with my beautiful warm wife sleeping next to me, and get out into the cold air conditioning, put on my gym clothes, and go fucking do a workout every morning at 4 a.m. And I can tell you that it sucks. It's hard, but I'm doing it because I'm disciplining myself. I'm fighting myself to become better. And I'm reframing my own reality. And my reality now, what I started thinking of over a year ago when I got on this journey, it's becoming reality. I'm manifesting what I wanted. So just remember, you choose how you're going to feel about your situation. You choose to define your reality. So don't become delusional, but change your perception of your reality.